Good afternoon, good evening, good morning in some locations around the world. This is Norman Kochnick here for Extra Time. We're joined once again by some illustrious guests. Vijay Lokapalli. How are you, Vijay?
I'm fine. I'm just wondering if I need to wear a Mumbai Indians t-shirt tonight to counter Aditya.
Well, maybe you should be. And we have, of course, Nikhil. I would call him Nick. From yet again, he's stuck in Ahmedabad. He seems to be permanently stuck there. There must be a plane strike. I'm not sure what's going on. How are you, Nick?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm just in Ahmedabad, just as the venue, which is neutral. It's going to be hosting the playoffs. It doesn't have a team, but it'll be hosting the playoff. So just as the venue behind me is neutral, I'm neutral. So if Vijay sir can wear Mumbai jersey and Aditya can wear KKR, I'll be the neutral of the show.
I have a word for that. Balderdash. You're a Delhi Capitals fan.
No.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, it is 7'9" Aditya, who is wearing a KKR shirt.
Yeah, hello, sir. How are you, sir?
Call me Norman. Don't call me sir. My heavens.
Okay. How are you, Norm?
I'm fantastic.
Great.
Just to let you know, Aditya on the earlier shots was sitting on something very tall, and poor Tobias and I and Vijay looked about 2 foot tall, and Aditya was going through the roof. Rather scary. And so welcome to all three of you, including myself. That makes 4. We're here for the first of what I would almost call the second round of matches, where Kolkata Knight Riders will take on a rather off Mumbai Indians. I would call it a little bit off Mumbai Indians at the moment, whereas Kolkata Knight Riders are very calculating in their match, which they won the other day. I think there's a certain amount of ascendancy about Kolkata Knight Riders. And in fact, if there's a day when Kolkata Knight Riders needs to stamp their authority, it's today. Against the Mumbai Indians, it's essential for them in their current format with the likes of Andre Russell to show their wares. And it's at a neutral venue, of course, in Chennai, which makes it all the more interesting, doesn't it? Nick, what's your take on today's match?
Very interesting. Just looking at the game, I, to begin with, wouldn't want to be the guy to be telling Chris Lynn that after you scored that 49, you'll have to sit on the bench, because that just might be the case today after Quinton de Kock probably should be available. He's done his time in quarantine. So I wouldn't want to be that guy, but an interesting contest. We know Mumbai starts off a bit slow, so they lost that first encounter. Kolkata started off a win. So two contrasting results for these two teams. So it'd be interesting how they go. I think they're very evenly matched on the paper. Of course, Mumbai Indians, you'd have to give them the edge with the kind of personnel that they have in their team. But as we saw with Kolkata, they had a great start in that first game. The other one that didn't fire for Kolkata was Andre Russell. I'm hoping to see whether he can turn his fortunes around. Remember, his bad patch has been going on since last season. Can he really turn a corner? We'll have to wait and watch in this encounter. It's going to be interesting. The game is in Chennai. We've begun to see that even though Chennai Super Kings are not playing, we expected that because the home team is not playing, you might have a very sporting pitch, but that's not been the case. It's still on the slower side, so we'll have to see how both teams go. I think Kolkata's got good spinners, better compared to Mumbai Indians, so that is one thing that goes with a slight advantage towards Kolkata. But the other thing that we saw was that if you've got a fast bowler that can really vary his pace, then this pitch also suits those kind of bowlers.
Yet again, Nick, a fantastic initial summary of this match. I couldn't have said it better myself. Vijay, now, even though you're not wearing a Mumbai Indians shirt, what's your take on today's match, please?
Should be a good game, obviously, and Nikhil has described it beautifully. I mean, what you can expect from the team, but I would want to see a good knock from Rana again. I enjoy his batting. I mean, the other night he should have got 100. And Nikhil has also watched him grow up in Delhi. I know he's one of the few exciting batsmen we have in the north. There's a lot of talk of Shubman Gill, who's won the race, but Nitish Rana has waited for his opportunities. This is the stage for him to perform. He can come into the big league, and then of course we have we'll have Rohit Sharma tonight. If he gets going, there'll be a lot of entertainment for all of us. Hopefully, let us have a last over finish in this match also.
I'm sure both sides don't want the last over finish, that's for sure. One would like to be in ascendancy for the last over. Now, Prithvi Shaw, it is almost like a Prithvi Shaw versus Gill contest, an element of that. Those two are combatants for opening positions in all formats of the Indian team. They both played together in the Under-19 World Cup. They know each other very well. There's an element of Gill versus Shaw as well. Aditya, welcome to the show with your Kolkata Knight Riders top on.
Thank you so much, sir.
Again, I think you've even got your name. You got in brackets KKR. You're actually supporting. I mean, you want to tell us something by that? Normally, you don't put KKR in your name, or is that your last name?
Actually, last time I went live on this platform, so that time I was using this name on the side I kept KKR to represent that I am a KKR fan, because on that day there were many different fans of different teams, so that's why it is showing like that.
It would be rather novel to have the last name though, Aditya KKR. That would be rather novel. I'd rather like that. Sounds like almost like VVS Laxman, so to speak. All right. What's your take on today's game, Aditya? Let me guess. You're going for KKR. Let me guess. Where's my crystal ball? Aditya, you're going for KKR. See how magical I am? I can already pick that.
Okay, so yeah, I am expecting an interesting match today, just like the last night against Sunrisers Hyderabad. So it's basically, I know it's a champion side, Mumbai Indians. We can't take them lightly. And when we just talk about the overall records of KKR versus Mumbai, we have a pretty bad record against them. But still, as we say, it's a new season and we have better expectations from the new side. There are a bunch of new players in the team. So it's like we are evenly positioned right now for this match, because it's a spin track at Chennai and we have comparatively better spinners than Mumbai Indians. But as Vijay sir mentioned, that if the players in Mumbai Indians gets going, like Rohit Sharma, that Ishan Kishan, Suryakumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Kieron Pollard, then it's like they have almost done their 60 to 70% of tasks of winning the match. So it's and with Andre Russell not in that old spark of his career like what he used to have in 2019. So these kind of things will bother KKR, but I think once Russell gets going, I believe that KKR can give a good competition to Mumbai Indians, and hopefully it's a last over finish also.
I must say though, both Nick and Aditya have actually said not so good thing about Andre Russell. I thought he bowled pretty well the last match. He bowled cleverly, bowled outside of stump. He restricted the runs off his bowling. So there was an element of good about his bowling. But Nick, let's be honest now. Let's be really honest. Do you give Kolkata Knight Riders a chance today, or do you not?
Oh, certainly do. I mean, I as I said, Mumbai do start favorites, but Kolkata. This is something we mentioned at the start of the show. Kolkata have the better spinners. I'd be interested to see how Kolkata. I mean, they won the first game because they got a great start from Nitish Rana there, and also Rahul Tripathi chipped in. I'd be interested to see, in case they don't have a great start, what do they do with their batting lineup? So last time you had someone like a Shakibul Hasan bat at number 7. Would you want to push him if you lose 2 quick early wickets? I think that'd be a good thing for Kolkata to do. We remember Shakib, the last tournament, in the 2019 World Cup that he played, he was almost Bradman-esque, if I could call him, with the bat, scoring so many runs. So he was batting in number 3, remember, in that tournament. So it kind of suits him that higher up. I don't think he's the guy. I mean, of course, he'll give you quick runs if you send him in those few overs, but I think he's better suited to a bit higher in the batting order. How do you now fit him in that when you've got someone like a Nitish Rana, Shubman Gill, Rahul Tripathi, these youngsters who've got you runs? So I guess they'll start with that, but it'd be interesting to see what do they do. They pushed Andre Russell higher up again because of that good start, so they really needed to go hell for leather. But if that doesn't happen, then maybe they keep him for a little later. I think Dinesh Karthik is that one set guy. The way he's been batting in those last few overs, openers, whether it was the last game, we won't forget the Nidas Trophy. He's got that ability. Even if you give him those 10 deliveries in the end, 12 deliveries in the end, he'll give you 30, 40 runs. And he's doing it consistently. And that's a very rare quality to have in international cricket at the moment. You can get top order batsmen as much as you like. You mentioned Prithvi Shaw fighting at the moment for that opener's position. But this quality of coming towards the end, maybe an Hardik Pandya is the one other Indian I can think of. And that's the kind of quality that, Dinesh Karthik has been showing. So he's set. The remaining, I think, is pretty fluid for Kolkata. And for God's sake, give Harbhajan more than an over. He looked so good in that first over that he bowled. I loved
Didn't
the fact that he was flighting the ball, almost got David Warner out if that catch had been taken. So maybe they'll get him to bowl. I think the reason they didn't bowl him, not too many left-handed batsmen in the last game, but here you've got a few. If Quinton is playing, so you might continue with Harbhajan Singh for a little lot longer. Ishan Kishan comes in at 4, so that's another reason where you could have Harbhajan. So yeah, all in all, interesting game. Much to look for. Mumbai's team, if I could quickly say, I'm looking forward to what do they do with their fast bowlers now. Trent Bolt, again a legend in his own right, but you're playing in Chennai, the one venue we've seen the ball not swing at all, and he's primarily a swing bowler. Would you be tempted then to go with someone like an Adam Mill? That could be the guy, hit the deck sort of bowler. You could go with Coulter Nile is sitting again on the bench, someone who did outstandingly well for them last season. So would you want to swap a Bolt for these two, or maybe it's too early in the season? You'd still want to wait. I don't know. So I can't wait for the teams to be announced, actually.
Absolutely. And we'll wait with bated breath. We're only, some 17 to 20 minutes away from the announcement of both the toss and the teams, let's hope. And, of course, the caps, which annoys me. When they give out the caps early, we go into the team, blah, blah, blah. All right, now, some of the duels going on here. Obviously, Pollard be up against Russell. There's an element of that going on with those two. They're certainly rivals, even though they're both Western. There's an element of rivalry going on there. I mean, even the likes of Owen Morgan and Ishan Kishan in their batting positions. Obviously, Kartik versus Hardik. There's an element of rivalry. That's what I rather like that. Hardik. It has a bit of a headline act. In fact, that could be an important duel, those two, because they both have a similar aggressive style to their batting at an important stage of the innings. So that would be particularly interesting. VJ, you've soaked all the conversation in. What does your learned thoughts say?
Thoughts on Mumbai?
Well, no, the general state of the teams, anything that comes to mind.
No, there is. I'm just wondering. There's so much of tactics involved. I mean, you reach a point where you reach a saturation point that how much of planning goes into it? Because is it a game to be played on the field by the players who use their minds, or to be dictated by the what should I say, the analysts sitting outside, looking at every ball, field positions, the strong and weak points of the batsman? There is so much happening. I don't know. I mean, I would love to understand from these young people that has cricket become such a tactical sport. I can understand in football. I and Nikhil, we used to play football every Sunday, and we would have our own tactical, so much of planning. But here, I just wonder, so much is going into a game, which is good, which makes cricket a very exciting sport, no doubt. And compared to test matches, there is more people watching T20. But how much? I mean, how much of planning, and it is only just the beginning of the tournament. I mean, we'll have there are another 13 matches to go for Mumbai Indians and KKR. So I'm going to watch tonight the first half, then we can discuss after the game if we watch any innovations. After all, both teams are studded with absolutely fabulous talent. So it's going to be interesting.
I'll answer that. I mean, a very interesting question, Norman, if you allow me to answer that thing.
Sure.
About tactics. I think within the teams, there's not too much of a discussion with regards to tactics and all analytics as we're talking about. Yes, there will be a little bit, of course, who does well against what. It's more the people who are on the periphery, like ourselves, who report on the game, whether write about it or talk about it, who tend to get into the details, primarily for many reasons. One, it's a bread and butter, so we just keep reading about it. We keep understanding what is happening. We try to find that one factor that differentiates one team to another. So that's one reason why we get so much into the game technically. The other thing is also we've got to do shows for 45 minutes, so sometime 1 hour looking ahead to the game. So that also forces us to innovate and come up with ideas of what to talk about, or whether this could come in and that. So that's a compulsion of I think the profession that we're in, or the nuts that we are. And it's not just let's not even look at the media men, but even fans. I mean, you'd be amazed when I listen to fan conversations. They could go on for 2 hours discussing a game that's not even been played. It's a preview to a game, but they can discuss because that's how passionate they are. But I guess he's right. When he says that more than what the teams must be discussing, I think they go with see the ball, react to it and hit it, or bowl the ball, see the batsman and bowl, react to the situation. It's more people like us on the periphery who like to get into the nitty gritties, layers within layers, to find out what's happening. And I guess you and I love to talk about it. There are plenty of people watching us who love to listen to it. So it carries on.
No, that's very, very, very true. Although I'm a believer of a gut feeling, of the mood, of the hunger of a team. I believe those emotions come out very clearly in my thoughts. Now, Aditya looks to me like he is a scholar of the game. He studies it very heavily. Although he's only got one eye, his other eye doesn't function. It's one eye on KKR. Is that a fair assumption, Aditya?
Yeah, okay. So yes, so look, about this today's match, if you just talk about, I think we are well balanced about the at the moment, because when we just look into the last match, I think everything was executed quite well for KKR. So the only thing which bothered me a little was just like Nikhil said, that we didn't make the most from Harbhajan Singh. So that is something that I don't want to see today. He would be there in the playing 11 for sure. So I want him to bowl as much overs as possible, because he has been a part with Mumbai Indians almost for 10 seasons of IPL. So he knows each and every players of Mumbai. So I want to see him bowl quite well. And last time in the Sunrisers match, I saw that somewhere in the bowling department, after the power play, till the power play, we were bowling so well. But somewhere from the 7th over to the 16th over, 16th to the 18th over, we were somewhere losing the track, and almost it came to a close encounter, because the kind of runs it was going, and the wickets we have got, like 2 wickets we took, and 35 runs was all they scored in the first 6 overs. I was expecting that Sunrisers would be almost all out, or would be brought to a score of 140 maximum, but they came so close because of the improper utilization of the bowlers. So I think if Morgan does it quite well, like utilizing the correct bowlers at the right moment, I think this match is going to be quite interesting. And then about our batting also, I think I was pretty happy with the way Nitish Rana played last match. So looking forward to some good knock from him today also, along with Rahul Tripathi. And I want Shubman Gill to fire as well, because last match, unfortunately, he got out for 15 runs. So this is a match. He also told before the IPL started that he's looking forward to the match with Mumbai Indians. So I expect that he plays well. He scores some good amount of runs. And the biggest problem, as you mentioned, that eventually Russell is bowling well in the death. So what we want is a death bowler at the moment. But still, the reason why Russell is playing in the playing 11 is that we want him to fire at the later half of the match, like in the from 15 to 20 overs. We want him to score some huge amount of runs, but that's not happening, because when you just take the comparison between Pollard and Russell, Pollard usually selects 1 or 2 bowlers, goes after a particular bowler that he wants to go for sixes and boundaries, and he just fires against them. But when you take about Russell, it's like he wants to attack each and every bowler. Let that be Rashid Khan, or let be that Bumrah. He wants to go after every bowler, and that's where he mistimed some shots and gets out easily. So I just hope that he plays strategically and scores some runs today. And anything, I think if we are able to restrict Mumbai Indians below 170 something, we would be able to chase it. And if we are batting first, anything above 180 would be enough for KKR to win this match.
Where is Norman? I'd like to know, where is Aditya sitting? Are you sitting in God's own country, beautiful Kerala?
Yes.
See, See, I could tell you from here.
Wow. Is it because there are certain nuts coming off the tree? I'm not sure.
Correct. It's those coastal. I can see the coastal look, the coastal trees behind him, and also his beard is a giveaway. People from Kerala have the best beards, so I thought as much that he's from there.
Very observant, Nick. Very, very observant. But did you?
Are you a KKR fan? I want to know. Are you a Kerala Blasters fan and a KKR fan?
Well, yes. Talking about the ISL, yes, I am a Kerala Blasters as well as ATK Mohan Bagan fan also. Basically, I'm from New Delhi, and right now, currently, I'm studying in Kerala. So
I'm confused now. You're from New Delhi. You live in Kerala. You go for KKR. Oh my God, that's confusing.
Yes.
But is Kerala your home state? Is Kerala your home state?
Yes, it's my hometown. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, on another aspect of this, we talk about Andre Russell. Let's be honest. He's box office, isn't he? He's box office magic. He's in that side because of his attraction. And even if he doesn't play well, like Chris Gale, there's an element of being drawn to him. And even in the tactics of a team, they're always concerned about an Andre Russell, or for that matter, a Chris Gale, and maybe unnecessarily. And that actually works against the opposition very often as well. It's not just simply Andre Russell's performance, it's his presence. It's his attitude. He brings a team along just by his sheer attitude. He's very vocal on the field. He has an amazing presence, indeed. All right. We're going to be talking about the toss in a matter of minutes and the team makeups. Do you think they will change their teams dramatically, guys, from the first mates to the second? Clearly, the Chennai wicket will have something to do with the selection process. What's your thoughts? Vijay?
I am absolutely fascinated by Nikhil, this young man. I mean, look at his preparation. My God, he's just reading off as if he's been been an expert for 30 years. Absolutely fabulous. I would love to see Quinton de Kock come into the 11 if possible, because he can make a lot of difference. He's coming out of that quarantine period that I think is now part of normal. I think, Nikhil, it shouldn't take him much time to just settle down, because they're playing so much of cricket. Let them be in a 10-day quarantine. They can just take to the field as if they've been there all along. But like I said, Rohit will be very critical again, and Shubman Gill is again critical to KKR. If he has to get going, he has the potential. We saw that in Australia, and if he can match up. I mean, Nikhil, I'm also fascinated by this thing called matchups in these modern times. As if there are matchups earlier also. If I would know if Nikhil is going to bat, I'll put Aditya to bowl to him, because I know he is his bunny. But today there is so much of data, and there is so much of stats going into it. They analyze so beautifully. I don't know what is going to be the matchup tonight, but there's a lot of focus on Andre Russell. Again, a very unpredictable cricketer, someone like Pollard, but Pollard's ability is awesome. So I would love to see Quinton de Kock do well tonight, and if possible, Shubman Gill. If there is a contest between these two playing their best for their own teams, it will be a cracker of a contest.
What about Sunil Narine? Do you think he deserves a chance tonight to play for KKR?
Where does it fit in? I think I would. What do you think, Nikhil? I don't know. I don't know if Sunil Narine fits in.
I agree with you, sir. I don't think there's a spot for him. The one way you could have made a spot for him, and again, I did a show just now, and the shows that we do at ESPN are very stat heavy, right? So there was this one stat that we studied, which was about his batting, and that's where he can really make a difference. Against Mumbai, he's done very well when he's open. But now with Nitish Rana, Shubman Gill there's no way that you would want to take a makeshift opener as Sunil Narine. So that goes out of the window. That matchup, as he was talking about, this matchup may be good, but logic will tell you that no point going with Sunil Narine. How do you drop Shakib after the game that he had with the ball? Didn't get too much of a chance with the bat. So very tough for him. And the other major factor which we got to consider why I think Narine won't make it is because now they've got a mystery spinner in Varun Chakravarti doing well. Had he not been there, then you probably might think of another mystery spinner. Okay, let's go with a Narain and risk it. But when Varun's doing well, similar kind of bowlers, he's doing well. And to top it all, I think Narain slacked off a bit last 2 seasons, primarily from the time that you kept calling his action. And now that he's been called in for a few times, he's lost that edge with the ball that he used to have. So all of these factors going in, I don't see that happening. One out of the box suggestion, if I may offer now for Mumbai, could be, I don't know whether they'll do it. That's why I'm saying it's a long shot. But something that they could consider is have someone, in terms of their spinning option. Rahul Chahar didn't have a great last game. We've seen him a bit below confidence even before that, not having a great time. Would you want to risk a Jayant Yadav? And why I say that is, last game when they were playing RCB, Mumbai, RCB had a lot of right-handers, so you understand going with a leg spinner and not having an off spinner. Here in Kolkata's top 6, you've got 3 left-handers. So would you want to go with a off spinner in Jayant Yadav? Maybe. As I said, it's an out-of-the-box idea. Also, don't forget, Jayant did very well for Mumbai last finals they played. They brought him as a surprise element, did very well for them. So that's an option if they take match-by-match situation. But then again, I've said all of that, rattled off all the stats. I know Rohit, he's a very stable sort of a captain, doesn't make too many changes, likes to go with a team that, does well, even if they've not won. So don't see too many changes as such. Maybe, as I mentioned, Trent Bolt, maybe out of the box, Rahul Chahar. Other than that, Vijay sir has mentioned Quinton. If he's fit, he's coming in. You got to feel sorry for a Chris Lynn, but I think that's what this professional cricket has taught us. That in earlier days, Vijay sir will tell you, if a player had scored a 50, if you ask him to sit out, he'd be very upset. Now with this professional cricket coming in, the owners tell you, no, sit out, play in, and they take it in their stride because they know it's a job. I have to do it. When you're not demanding me, I have to sit out. So I think that might happen.
Something interesting, guys. Brendan McCullum has given Shakib, I was saying, a cap. That is for his 50th cap for his play for KKR. So it's a rather significant moment for Shakib. And he could well play an important part of this match as well. His all-round ability is sensational, don't you think? Very important part of this team. So that was a significant moment, getting his 50th cap from McCullum. Aditya, now Vijay has put you on a pedestal. You are now this little guru, even though you're in Kerala, involved with Mumbai. I'm not sure what other states. I've forgotten them all now. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I am also expecting the same playing 11 for KKR today, because after all, we just came from a victory. So I think there would be not much changes coming into our side, because I just heard somewhere that Pat Cummins is slightly not fit for tonight's match. So if that is true, maybe Lockie Ferguson would be there in the team. But other than that, I am expecting the same playing 11 with Shubman Gill starting at the top with Nitish Rana, and then Rahul Tripathi there at number 3. And then the rest would be same. I want Owen Morgan to bat at number 4. But as we know, he's someone who has been promoting others like Andre Russell or Shakib Al Hasan up the order. And he wants to step down and come up little later. But it's also okay somewhere. Like Shakib is also good at number 4. And then Morgan, DK, Russell, and if Pat Cummins is there, it's a great addition to the team. And other than that, if he's not there, Lockie Ferguson, it would just cover up our death bowling issues also. And then I also wanted to see someone like Shivam Mavi in the playing 11, because he has been someone quite phenomenal in the power play overs. In last season, IPL 2020, when we just take the power play, he has been bowling so well. He has been getting those wickets for KKR alongside with Pat Cummins. So I would love to see him in the playing 11 either today or in the days to come. But since Prasidh Krishna took 2 wickets last match, I think he's more likely to be in the playing 11. And talking about Mumbai Indians also, if Quinton de Kock is out of quarantine, I think he will replace Chris Lynn, as Chris Lynn has slightly trouble against spinners. And KKR have almost like Varun Chakravarti, Harbhajan Singh, Shakib Al Hasan. So considering those facts, I think Mumbai would be keen on playing Quinton de Kock. And apart from that, maybe Jayant Yadav should be used, because as mentioned, KKR have a lot of left-arm batsmen. Or maybe if they want to go with a leg spinner, they can also try Piyush Chawla, who has been a part of KKR for almost 6 to 7 years. So he knows KKR players.
Guys. Breaking news. KKR have won the toss and have elected to bowl. So KKR have actually won the toss and elected to bowl. So maybe it was Aditya, your presence has created that. Although something more important to me, I want to know how you know about Pat Cummins. Is it the Bharat Army? Have you got one of the Bharat Army currently in the dressing rooms there in Chennai? Is that how you know all about this? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm associated with Bharat Army's WhatsApp groups and all the Instagram handles. So, but I just came across one of the Instagram.
I was joking.
Yeah, yes. I just came across a news. Okay, I was just scrolling down the Instagram, and that's where I just saw that Pat Cummins has some niggles, so he might be missing out the match tonight. So that's why I said maybe if he misses out, then Lockie Ferguson is the perfect addition to the team.
Okay, KKR, Morgan has actually confirmed there are no changes to the side. So KKR are going as per the program. So that's a great deal of confidence from KKR. They haven't changed their side. They've won the toss, elected to bowl. A lot of very positive signs here from KKR to start with. Would you agree? Nick?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that, because as I was just saying right now that we would be going with the same playing 11. Just I had the doubt about Pat Cummins, but if he's there, then I think it's a good thing to have the same playing 11 at the moment. The batting seems to be settled at the moment, and if we are lucky enough, and if Russell finds his rhythm, then it's a treat for KKR fans. And bowling also, I just want that Morgan to utilize the bowlers quite well and not drag the game too much, like as if we come to a close encounter situation. Because somewhere, if we are possible of winning the match, it's good that if we utilize the spinners and pacers at the right moment and get the wickets. That's the main thing, because Mumbai Indians can't be taken lightly. They can change the game from any moment.
It looks like Rohit Sharma also wanted to field first had he won the toss. So very strong signs from Kolkata. Same team, or identical in all aspects, elected to bowl first. They won the toss. Makes that little bit hard for Mumbai. I argue a little bit harder there for Mumbai. It's going to be interesting. What's your thoughts, Nick?
As expected, team winning the toss has decided to chase, so no surprise there. And I'm just going to confirm the one change that Mumbai Indians have made. I was just listening to that. So, as expected, Chris Lynn is out then. And if I heard correctly, Quinton de Kock does come into the playing 11, as was expected, and no changes for Kolkata. So, exactly what we are talking about. I don't think both teams are going to make any changes, and that's a good thing. I mean, just one game, whatever be the result, you're not going to make too many changes. Some tactical discussions we may have had in terms of, getting one player out, whether you take Chair out or get someone else in. And if Pat Cummins is fit, as we found out now, there was no need to bring Lockie Ferguson in that regard. So, all in all, what was expected. Quinton de Kock then comes in. What that also does is interesting, gives them that left-hand, right-hand combination that they would have want as openers for Mumbai Indians. So that's something they're looking forward to. What they'll have to change this time around, though, is the total. I think Rohit Sharma was very candid when he accepted that they were about 20 runs short. Had they got another 20 runs, they could have, won that first encounter versus RCB. As it turned out, it still went down to the last delivery. So getting another 15, 20 odd runs, they would have gone as favorites. I'm guessing that's what they're going to concentrate on this time, to get that 15, 20 extra runs.
No, that's absolutely right. It gives me the impression that both teams are, what I would argue, very settled and very happy with it, where they are. A great deal of confidence in their team lineup. You would argue that Chennai would have provided some reason to change the bowling lineup, but it hasn't. The temptation has not been there to change the lineups. Do you think there's a spin bowler too few in the Mumbai lineup, though, guys? Who would like Vijay? What do you think? Could Mumbai have done with another spinner?
No, it's too early to make too many. Just one game. They're playing the second game, and they have obviously the bowling they have in mind. They're going to stick to it for some time, because you allow the bowlers to settle down also. I mean, you can't just expect them to deliver in the first match, and then if someone doesn't click, you want him to change for the second game. That's not fair. So I think this is from the lineup, from the 11 the Mumbai is playing. Trent Bolt, Jasprit Bumrah, Jensen and Rahul, I think they are, what would you expect? They're quite a balanced attack. And compared to Kolkata, I think Kolkata has a much sharper bowling attack with Pat Cummins, Harbhajan, Prasidh, Varun. Varun, of course, like Nikhil says, mystery spinner, and he's always had an impact on the T20 cricket, which of which he's one of the stars. I think one can expect him to grow in this tournament definitely, Varun. And India is looking at a place for Varun in the T20 squad. It'll be with his mystery bowling, he'll be a big asset. But Norman, I don't think there is any need to tamper with the bowling at this stage. If the bowlers are developed, I mean, they have to allow them to settle down and expect the same bowling attack for at least next couple of games.
Very fair point. Very fair point.
Norman,
Yes, Nick.
the one thing about, I mean, as we spoke earlier, you wouldn't want any changes to the team. That's right. The only thing I'd want Mumbai Indians to change this time was to use more than 5 bowlers. They didn't do that last time. You know, they stuck with 5, and that's very unusual for a Mumbai team. That's been their one, area of strength where they had too many bowling options. Sometimes 8 bowlers they would have. They had them in Hardik Pandya. We heard that he had a shoulder niggle, but it's not very serious, so he's going to be bowling very soon. So that could be this game. We'll have to wait and watch. Last time
just quickly,
too.
guys. I did see. Can you go on mute just in case there's a bit of static? Just go on mute if you don't mind. Yeah, cool. Sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. So the other bit, as I said, maybe Hardik bowls now. Karan Pollard didn't bowl at all last time, so maybe he chips in too. I think these are things they may have spoken about. And in terms of option, Kolkata had plenty of options. I mean, imagine having options to just get Harbhajan to bowl 1 over. So that was sort of an embarrassment of riches that they had. Mumbai also has that in their ranks. Whether they're going to use them will be interesting too.
Okay. It's extremely interesting regarding Pandya, the importance of Pandya, the so-called workload management that the likes of Zahir Khan talks about with Pandya. It's interesting. They need Pandya to bowl more often than not. And that's the key to, I think, Mumbai's success as well, that depth in the bowling lineup. Absolutely. Vijay, now, you look a little bit like you are certain as to the winner. Am I gathering that? Do you have a feeling of who's going to win this match? What's your thoughts, Vijay?
I would back KKR because they look more balanced, and Mumbai Indians again. I mean, they'll be depending a bit too much on the top heavy batting lineup. If there are a couple of wickets to fall, Mumbai Indians obviously will be on the back foot, and too much will be dependent on the way Hardik Pandya gets going in the middle overs. But KKR, I think, is quite a confident team, and the fact that they have a bowler like Pat Cummins, I mean, he can run. He is a wicket-taking bowler. He doesn't bowl to escape punishment. So if I'm expecting Cummins to come hard against the Mumbai Indians tonight.
Absolutely. I do like the way you sum up Pat Cummins. He is in there to take wickets. That's his knack. That's why he's the leading bowler of the world, based on that particular part of his bowling. He doesn't get much movement, though. He's a very up and down type of bowler. He gets a bit of grip, but he generally bowls hard, and it steeples up towards the batter. And even on pitches in India, he tends to get that knack. So he is a pivotal part of the side. But I'm curious. To me, Shakib Al-Hussain, I'm predicting him to have a great match today. Not only because it's his 50th, but he, to me, can be very pivotal to a team's performance because of his batting and bowling, and he'll play a very big role in the KKR's side, more than we give him credit to, I think, very often. He's one of the most impressive Bangladeshi players ever, and he shows it each and every time. No wonder he's rated one of the top all-rounders in the world, and his value was certainly there. Aditya, now you've changed sides. I'm not sure whether by changing sides of the screen, have you changed sides? Have you moved over to Mumbai Indians, or are you still with Kolkata? I think he's frozen, actually. No, he's there.
He's back now.
So, did you hear what I said? Because you've changed screen sides, have you changed teams now, or are you still with KKR?
Unmute yourself, Aditya.
You're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah. You're still on mute.
Yeah, still on mute.
I must say, it's not a tactic for me to keep him on mute. Please don't blame me. I'm not controlling the mute button.
Or maybe it's a tactic on Aditya's part to be on mute. He doesn't want to share too many pearls of wisdom with us. To keep it for some other shows that he wants to do.
So, Nick, wouldn't it be great to have the power as a so-called host to put someone on mute? It's a lovely ability.
You need to watch a few Indian news networks to know that power does exist with the presenter. He does put people on mute, the ones he doesn't like talking. So do tune into a few Indian news networks, and you'll find out about those powers.
Hello, am I audible right now? Hello.
Yes, you're back.
So tell us, Aditya, your thoughts.
So I haven't changed sides. I'm always that's what I was saying.
All right, that's good. That's a good start. I think Carol is having some internet problems down there. While that's the case, I'll turn back to Nick. Your thoughts. Nick. You're full of thoughts. You're a plethora. It's so many things going on. It's hard to keep track. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know what it is. Nick, tell us.
No.
I can't hear Norm.
I don't know whether you're praising me or pulling my leg, but either ways, I'll answer that question. I mean, that's all I do, right? So that's my job. That's all I keep doing, reading day in and day out. And my job at ESPN demands that I keep talking for half an hour of the show. So I have to find things to keep talking about. So I think that's a habit I've picked. I always tell people, in fact, this is a joke I usually crack whenever I go to a school or a college to address anyone, and they see like a small sheet of paper in my hand, and I always crack this joke saying that, listen, this looks small and you must be thinking I'm going to only speak for 5 minutes, but I'm from an Indian news network. We know how to make a 5-minute thing into 50 minutes. We can talk for like 50 minutes impromptu as all. So I think these are skills I picked up during my job. But yeah, I mean, that's all I do the whole day, right? You're sleeping cricket, you're eating cricket, plenty to talk about. So yeah,
I certainly wouldn't eat crickets. They're not very tasty. They're a bit crunchy, actually. No.
I don't know. I haven't tried them, but have you?
Well, I'm Australian. We have the Aboriginal influences. We go out and have these things called widgety grubs and all sorts of things. So yes, and Nick, I sympathise with you. I'm somebody who's very hard to stop talking to, as you may have noticed. VJ, now you are again. I'm noticing mannerisms about when your hand goes to your chin, you're in deep thought. I want to know what you're thinking at that moment. There's some deep intellectual thought that's going on.
That's when I hear these young people speaking. I mean, I'm honestly, I marvel. Nikhil, this morning we had a long conversation on a different subject. And
twice in fact, once on the phone and then once on a video call, and this is the third conversation we're having in a day. The first one was with regards to a sports magazine that we worked for together, regarding some articles. The second conversation was about a project which is separate from that we may be working together, and the third conversation of the day is on your program. So we've had 3 conversations on 3 completely different subjects, but all related to cricket. My dad.
Yes. And when I do this, it is only to listen to this fascinating, what should I say? I mean, they study so much. I mean, Nikhil hasn't just come here just like that. He's done his homework. And the young fellow, we're losing him to this internet issue. Look at him. I mean, how well informed he is. Even if it's not just the KKR, even about Mumbai Indians. So I marvel at their passion.
See, everyone has a strength, right? So we can't write as well as Vijay sir writes, right?
No, you're the best.
So we make money by talking. So you've got to be better at doing that.
Nick, what's this fluffy thing you've got?
Oh, it's my mic. It's a professional mic. So
I know. I'm just joking.
I had a table. So I had a table where the mic was, but that wasn't allowing me to stretch my legs. So now that we've been on for 45 minutes, I really needed to stretch my legs. So I removed the table and I picked the mic up in my hand. so that
Actually,
I could.
I was thinking it was a cleaning brush. And you were doing two things at once. You were both talking and cleaning.
I have been during the lockdown. I have to chip in with my household work. So this afternoon, the video meeting that we were having on a different cricket subject was, I wasn't on camera while everyone else was. I wasn't on camera because I was also getting my daughter to do some project work of school. So you got to double up for a lot of other things. During the lockdown, we've all picked up different skills. Cleaning it's not just us, by the way. During the lockdown, I did many player interviews for either the organization that I worked for or for some corporate events, some big stars like Rahul Dravid, Anil Kumble. Everyone I spoke to had picked up some household skills. So it's not just us mere mortals, but these stars were also cleaning their houses, cleaning the curtains, doing some other household work like going and ordering some groceries for the house. Everyone's learned something or the other.
Can I just say, I find that because our faces are so close to the camera, there's an intimacy going on here. Are we having a private chat? Are there any viewers watching? I don't think so. We can have a private chat now and talk the truths. In fact, I'm hungry, but I can't eat, so I've got to be careful. I've got a pistachio nut here, but I won't touch it while we're talking, even though I'm hungry.
Is that the secret of your good looks? Eating some good dry fruits?
Absolutely.
Energy to speak.
All the women keep telling me, how do I keep my good looks? And I say, please, don't ask me that question. It embarrasses me every time. So, no, the reality, it's a pity we haven't got Aditya here, but the Bharat Army are extremely important, not only to this network, but as you said earlier, Nick, it's the lifeblood of cricket. We're saying, so Debasas didn't like the intimacy of our conversation. He's pushed us back. He felt we were too close. In fact, maybe they were sitting their hands on my nose. I'm not sure. But yes, the reality is Bharat Army are absolutely important, not just to this network, but to India. Their strength of numbers, their forces, they've got such a brilliant number of fans who are scholars of the game. It's quite fantastic. I'm very impressed. All right, guys. Looking at the time, we've still got a few minutes left, but I would like to be able to get the take on. We've seen now 4 matches. This is the 5th match. Clearly, this is another round of matches. We're going to see different dissections of teams. Kolkata Knight Riders, in my opinion, my humble opinion, will win today. Mumbai Indians will still start the blocks rather slow. Kolkata Knight Riders are hungrier, as my term puts. Vijay, what's your thoughts?
See, if you see the first 4 games, they've been very close. Most of them. I mean, there were 2 last ball finishes, and except for Delhi Capitals winning by 7 wickets, the others won another match by 10 runs. So they've been very close. We can expect another close match tonight. And we've already we've spoken of KKR's strength. We would love to see Shubman Gill get cracking. And then, of course, Andre Russell can come and take over in the later part. It will be a lot of fireworks. But I wish at some point, Nikhil, if you get to see Kuldeep Yadav play, because it's been long time. This poor guy, he doesn't get to play test matches, one-day matches, T20 matches, IPL matches, and we all talk of he being a very different bowler and a Chinaman, and the fact that he's very competitive has come up the very hard way. So I sometimes wonder what would be going in his mind, just sitting and watching matches.
I'll be honest with you. I was in Sydney in particular at Drummoyne Oval. I'll not forget this day. It was a match, one of the trial matches leading to the actual main series. He looked, to be honest with you, very frustrated. And I could sense an element of tension from the nets between Kuldeep and some of the other players and some of the management. Kuldeep spoke to both myself and Aparna Sani. We were behind the nets. He made a general conversation. He was quickly stomped on for talking to us. I felt a certain amount of friction there. I don't know whether it was just momentary or what. He certainly is suffering from this whole non-selection period, indeed. And he got opportunities and did pretty well. But this non-selection, I don't know what it is. There's something not right that we're not seeing. What's your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And as much as I love the IPL, and both of you, raised this valid point about his confidence, I think it all goes back to his time with KKR. Actually, not playing him started at the IPL, not giving him a regular option. And see, we know T20 cricket can sometimes be cruel on a spinner. Most spinners have spoken before how the shorter boundaries where even a miss hit goes for a six. I think this dip in confidence started at the IPL. At the KKR stint that he was having. There are some cricketers, former cricketers, who've suggested that, listen, if you're not going to use him, release him. There's no point keeping him and then even affecting his confidence
Exactly.
even more. I agree that he hasn't got his chances in the Indian team as much as he should have, but it all again starts from the IPL and his stint with the KKR, where he played a few games, went for a few runs, they didn't play him, and then he kept sitting on the bench, and that just continued. That long, gap of not playing cricket just continued with the Indian team too. So started here. I mean, just release him. You've got a few options now. You've got Harbhajan in your team as well, so. Plus, you got Varun Chakravarti there, Sunil Narayan also sitting in the bench. Plenty of options. Just release him. I'm sure there are other franchises that would need a spinner, may give him a little more opportunities to play. Some of them have not too many options. As I'm just thinking, Punjab Kings for one have two leg spinners in Ravi Bishnoi and Murugan Ashwin. Maybe a left arm Chinaman could add variety. They could go for someone like him, and with Anil Kumble with them, even more so would help him spend some time with him. So again, these are things that they could look at. So, but sometimes I've spoken to a lot of franchises. When I've spoken to them, why don't you release a certain player, just completely off the record? And I've asked them that, listen, in your mind you're not going to be using him. Why don't you release? And this is not with regards to Kuldeep. I'm just talking about some other players. And they say, listen, if we're going to release him, we know that franchise is looking out for him. They'll take him and then he'll play against us. So we rather pay whatever 2 crores a year is not too much money for us. We pay it, but we keep him to ensure that he doesn't play, so that we keep doing well. So there's a price to it. I mean, there are lots of things that go into the IPL which need to change. I'll give another tip of how that happened. Again, a Murugan Ashwin example. Last season, there was this window. Every season you have this window where you could trade players. Last season also, there was a trading window. Not a single player was traded. Everyone said that, oh, listen, get done with this window. It doesn't help because no team wants to change. I found out that there was a team that was very keen to get Murugan Ashwin from Kings because they needed a leg spinner. They approached Kings 11 saying that, listen, we'll pay you XYZ amount. You're not using him. They hadn't played him a single game till that time, till that thing. So you're not using him. We're paying you. Give it to us. They said, no, we won't give. Again, that same logic that we may not use him, but if we give it to him, they'll become stronger. What's the point? We might as well keep giving him the salary. And guess what happened after that? After that trade window got over, every game Murugan Ashwin played because they realized, oh, every other team wants him. Maybe he must be good. So let's play him. And they played him and he did very well. So those are the things that go into, sometimes we don't see it, but when you speak to a certain players or management after the season is over, you get a lot of insight. And so IPL works. I think this is more tactical than the tactics that we talk about on the field.
Absolutely. Now, on that note, Nitin and Vijay, I think we need to trade you both to another team now, as we need to go. I need to go. I think I might even be traded to a kitchen somewhere for some reason. I don't know. But basically, we've had a wonderful session again. You both are very stimulating in the true sense of the word. And Aditya was also very, very good. Another brilliant Bharat Army insert into our commentary. I think this has been a wonderful tactical discussion. Go KKR. I think Mumbai Indians are in a bit of trouble today. Let's see if it pans out. So thank you, everyone. This is Norman Kochnik here. We're only minutes away from the play. Looking forward. A post session comes after. Vijay will be returning. Nick will be there.
What time is it when you do the post-match show? I want to know. In Australia.
Well, straight after the game, basically, straight after the game.
5 a.m. There must be whatever. What is it? 4 a.m. 5 a.m.
Well, in my opinion, in my time, it's about 4 a.m.
I hope that Debashish is really looking after you for staying up the whole night doing a post-match show at 4 a.m.
Just between us, he's not listening. No, he hasn't. I'm expecting big money and lots of food. It's coming.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Talk to you very soon again. Post-match. Have a lovely game. Enjoy. Oh,
thank you.
One last thing. The crystal ball is working hard. It says KKR. All right. See you soon. All the best, guys.
See you. Bye.
Norman Kochnik from Extra Time.
Thank you.
Thanks.